My child, listen carefully. This is not an ordinary whisper in the wind. This is not a passing thought or a vague dream. This is a message soaked in divine timing, wrapped in urgency, and spoken in the silence of your heart so it won't be forgotten. This is about you. This is about your name that was mentioned in a room you've never stepped into. This is about a person who spoke about you, and what they said was not just words. They spoke about your smile. They spoke about your soul. They spoke about your teeth, your words, your laughter, and they did not speak with love. Their mouth twisted your name. Their voice carried a vibration that tried to paint you in colors you never wore. You need to know this, not because God wants to make you afraid, but because He wants to wake you up. Because there are things happening behind your back while you are trying to carry the weight of your life in peace. Because someone has mistaken your silence for weakness. Someone has mistaken your goodness for a doorway to mock you. Someone looked at your teeth and said, "Do you see how they smile like nothing is wrong?" And behind that smile, they tried to hide what they were doing to you. They spoke about your name and then they tried to change the meaning behind it. They said you talk too much. They said your teeth are too visible when you speak, as if your joy offended them. They twisted your words. And the truth is, they did it more than once. This message is for you because this time, heaven heard it. God says, this is not just gossip. This is spiritual interference. This is an invisible cord trying to tie you to shame. But that shame is not yours. It was never meant to be yours. You've walked through enough storms without crying out. You've smiled at those who secretly rolled their eyes behind you. You've opened your mouth to speak truth, and others tried to shame your voice. You've smiled despite heartbreak, and now even your smile is under attack. Number. Not anymore. This is about a conversation that took place late at night. Someone was sitting on a sofa. There were two others present. They laughed, but it wasn't innocent. One of them said your name. The other raised an eyebrow. The third person had something to say, and they said it without kindness. Did you see their teeth? They talk like they know everything. They walk around like they're better than us. And someone else joined in, I can't stand their voice. Every time they speak, it's like they're trying to preach. But the truth is, your voice carries light. Your voice breaks strongholds. Your voice releases peace. That's why the enemy used theirs to belittle it. This is spiritual. You must understand this. When people speak about your smile, your teeth, your voice, they're speaking about your power. They are uncomfortable because your existence exposes the emptiness of their hearts. You were not born to shrink. You were not born to apologize for how your mouth carries wisdom and fire. You were not born to hide the shape of your joy because someone else can't handle the light in your soul. They talked about you and your teeth with a kind of bitterness that reveals more about them than you. They said you smile too much. But if they knew what you had survived, they would call your smile a miracle. If they knew what kind of nights you cried through, they would fall on their knees just to witness your joy. You have been hurt before, yes. You've been the one they whispered about in rooms where they pretended to care. But this time, God heard it. This time, the words didn't just vanish. They formed a wound in the spirit realm. But the wound is not on you. It's on them. Because they tried to injure someone who carries grace. They tried to mock someone who has already been chosen. This message is for you because heaven is releasing vindication. Someone is going to wake up soon and feel the weight of what they said about you. One of them already had a dream. In the dream, they saw teeth fall from their own mouth. They woke up shaking, but they won't tell anyone. Because deep down, they know, they spoke wrongfully. And heaven is responding. Your name was brought up because your presence is felt, even when you're not around. You think you're invisible, but they see you. You think no one is paying attention, but they feel your energy when you walk in. That's why they talk. That's why they joke. That's why they mock. Because your peace makes their chaos louder. Because your teeth, your smile, your laughter, your truth, remind them of what they lost in themselves. Do not curse them. Do not hate them. But do not ignore this either. You are being shown something important. There are people who pretend to clap for you, but they are digging holes with every handshake. There are mouths that speak blessing in front of you and bitterness behind you. But your spirit is not weak. Your spirit is not unaware. And now, heaven has pulled the curtain back. You're not supposed to fight them. You're supposed to step out of their circle. You're supposed to release their names from your prayers. You're supposed to protect your light. One of them tried to copy you. Yes, you don't even know this yet, but they looked at you and tried to become what you are. But they couldn't keep it up because what you carry is not cosmetic. It's divine. Your strength isn't on the outside. It's etched in your soul. Your beauty isn't just the shape of your teeth or your face. It's the way you keep loving after being betrayed. It's the way you hold silence when everything in you wants to scream. Someone was asked recently, do you think they're really as good as they seem? And they said, number. They just act like it. But they don't know that it's not an act. You've earned your peace. You've bled for your dignity. You've walked away from people you love just to save your soul. That's not a performance. That's survival. That's purpose. This message is for you because you are in a season of unveiling. God is not just showing you what others have said. He's showing you who they really are. The laughter, the comments, the looks, they work loose. Now you have confirmation. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to prove anything. But you must distance yourself. Because your next season requires clean hands and a pure heart. You cannot walk into it carrying the weight of betrayal. Do not underestimate the power of this revelation. Heaven is not speaking lightly. Heaven is not exaggerating. This is not just about teeth or talk. This is about identity. Someone tried to erase your power by attacking your smile. But they couldn't touch what God placed inside you. There is a shift happening in your spirit even now. You feel it. You feel the trembling in your chest. That's not fear. It's awakening. Your soul is remembering something. Your heart is rising like a river breaking through a dam. This is the beginning of your liberation. One of the people who laughed will soon come to you pretending to apologize. But don't be fooled. They are not sorry. They are scared. Scared because something they tried to curse is now flourishing. Scared because the one they mocked is now being promoted. Scared because they feel the weight of judgment. Not from you, but from the God who covers you. And even though this hurts, remember this. Not everyone who laughs with you loves you. Not everyone who notices your smile supports your growth. And not everyone who calls you friend believes in your destiny. Your teeth, your words, your voice, they are anointed. They were made to break chains. They were made to speak truth. They were made to pierce lies. Don't dull them for anyone. Don't cover your mouth for anyone. Don't hide your light to make others feel more comfortable in their shadows. You are not what they said. You are not the caricature they tried to make. You are not the caricature they tried to create. You are not too much. You are the answer to a problem they never had the courage to face in themselves. You reflect something divine, and that's why they couldn't keep quiet about you. But this is where the tables turn. This is where the curtain falls. This is where truth reigns. And you must stand tall in it. Keep smiling, not because it hides your pain, but because it reveals your survival. Speak your truth, not for attention, but for alignment. Walk boldly, not because you're fearless, but because you've already faced your deepest wounds. Let them talk. Because while they're discussing your teeth, God is preparing your table. While they're questioning your light, heaven is writing your name on scrolls of favor. While they're mocking your voice, angels are echoing your prayers in rooms you haven't even entered yet. This is your confirmation. This is your spiritual receipt. This is your divine alert. Take it seriously. Let it guide your next steps. Let it remind you who you are. And above all, do not shrink. Someone tried to dim you. But now, you're about to shine in a way they can't ignore. And this time, you won't have to say a word. Your smile will speak for you. Your peace will defend you. Your silence will echo louder than their slander. And your future? It's going to be so bright, even they will have to wear shades just to watch from afar. You are safe. You are chosen. You are seen. And nothing they said can stop what heaven already approved. This message is for you. This is about you. This person talked about you and your teeth with a whisper that wasn't meant to return to your ears, but it did. It floated through the mouths of others, not because it wanted to hurt you, but because truth never stays hidden forever, and even lies dressed as compliments find their way home. There was a time not long ago when you stood in front of your reflection, questioning yourself, not because you lacked beauty, but because someone made you believe that beauty was found in approval. But let me tell you something that you may have forgotten in the roar of their disapproval. The stars were not designed to apologize for how they shine, and neither were you. You were made by hands that do not make mistakes. Your teeth, your smile, your voice, your timing, they are all crafted in such divine order that even the angels marvel at how perfectly your imperfections align to form a masterpiece. But someone with a heart full of misunderstanding and eyes too blinded by comparison, talked about you and your teeth with a laugh that sounded like a compliment but carried a curse. They thought they were speaking harmlessly. They thought their comment would vanish in the air. But it reached the ears of heaven, and heaven does not ignore when one of its own is mocked in secret. This message for you. Because in this moment, something in your spirit has already been aching. You've been feeling like people see you in pieces, not as a whole. You've been smiling less. You've been checking the mirror more. You've been trying to fix things that were never broken. All because someone said something that never should have been said. And tonight, yes, tonight, that ache, that subtle pain you've been ignoring, it's finally being spoken to. It's being addressed. Because heaven refuses to let you continue believing that you are anything less than sacred. There is something you should know, and I need you to sit with this gently, not fearfully. That person, the one who talked about you, they didn't just speak out of ignorance. They spoke out of jealousy, out of unresolved wounds, out of a place within them that is still broken and grasping for significance. They mistook your quiet confidence for arrogance. They mistook your ability to rise without permission for pride. And they needed to reduce something about you in order to feel taller themselves. So they chose your teeth. Your smile. The very part of you that carries light. Do you remember the first time someone said something unkind about how you looked? Maybe it was when you were younger. Maybe it came from someone you loved. Maybe it was a joke, a passing comment, a careless word. But it stuck. It planted itself like a thorn in your mind, and every time you smiled afterward, you felt it. That thorn. That echo. That sense that maybe you weren't enough. And ever since, you've been carrying a question you don't know how to ask. Am I still beautiful if they don't say I am? I need you to understand something. And not just in your mind but in your soul, in the deep place where truth settles and lies are burned away. You are not beautiful because of the approval of others. You are beautiful because you carry the breath of God. You are not loved because you fit a standard. You are loved because you exist. And anyone who tries to reduce that is fighting a battle within themselves that has nothing to do with you. There was a conversation. A private one. One you were never meant to hear. But heaven heard it. And in that conversation, someone said things about you, about your teeth, your smile, your presence. And they said it with laughter in their mouth but bitterness in their heart. They didn't know their words would be recorded in the spiritual realm. They didn't know that the one who made you was listening. But he was. And he didn't just listen, he responded. God says, I heard what they said. I saw how their words wrapped around your spirit like a chain. I saw the way you held your smile back that day. I saw the way you questioned your worth that night. I watched you replay the comment in your mind, trying to act like it didn't matter. But it did. And I am not okay with that. You are precious. Not because the world says so, but because you are mine. I carved your smile with intention. I placed laughter in your mouth for joy, not for ridicule. And when they mocked what I made, they mocked me. But I do not retaliate with vengeance, I restore. I lift. I heal. So now, child, let me restore what was stolen from you by careless words. Let me bring healing to your mind where their opinion tried to plant seeds of self-hate. You are going to smile again, fully, freely, deeply. You are going to laugh again without self-consciousness. You are going to walk into rooms not worrying about who is looking at you, but standing in the peace of knowing you carry something holy. Because you do. You always have. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them laugh if they must. Because none of it can undo the truth. You are radiant. You are favored. You are rising. And no one's opinion can rewrite your divine identity. Do you understand that now? This was never about your teeth. This was about your light. And some people cannot stand the way you shine. But heaven is not afraid of your shine. Heaven is your mirror. And in heaven's reflection, you are glorious. There is more, beloved. There are people who saw you being spoken of, who heard the laughter, who watched the mockery and said nothing. Their silence hurt more than the words. Because you expected them to defend you. You thought they loved you. And maybe they did. But love that remains silent in the face of mockery is not yet mature. And I know that hurt. I know you sat with it. I know it made you quieter, more withdrawn. But hear this. What they didn't say doesn't change what I said. And what I say is eternal. You are not defined by how they reacted. You are defined by how I created you. And I created you with glory. With purpose. With light. I created you to reflect my joy. And no one can erase that, no matter how hard they try. This is a message for you, sent through time and tears and silence and shame. It's been waiting for you. Because you were never meant to carry that comment as a burden. You were meant to carry your smile as a weapon of joy, a mark of victory. And now, it's time. Time to lay the shame down. Time to smile again, really smile. Not the guarded kind. Not the polite kind. But the wild, full, free smile that heaven gave you. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe. You are seen. You are heard. You are whole. Nothing will go wrong with you, rest assured. God will be with you. You just have to trust Him and pray to Him. Let your smile become a prayer. Let your laughter become a declaration of freedom. Let your presence fill the spaces they tried to shrink. They talked about your teeth, but what they didn't know was that your smile was going to be the very thing that would draw people to healing. What they didn't know is that your grin carries the strength of survival. What they didn't know is that heaven touches the earth every time you show your joy. And they can't stop it. They never could. So now, this is the moment. This is the turn. This is where you rise, not in bitterness, but in beauty. Not in revenge, but in radiant grace. And they will watch. Oh, yes, they will watch you become everything they said you'd never be. And it will humble them. Not to shame them, but to teach them. You are not here to be small. You are not here to hide. You are here to shine. You are here to smile. You are here to walk boldly in the beauty that God formed with His own hands. And no whisper, no laugh, no rumor, no shade can ever remove what was placed in you before time began. So smile, child. Smile with every part of your soul. Smile like heaven is watching, because it is. And heaven rejoices every time you choose to love yourself again. This is about you. This message is for you. Don't let their words linger another day. Don't let their judgment weigh you down another night. You are loved. You are light. And you are rising now, higher than you've ever risen before. And no one, not even they, can stop it. This is about you. The air around you knows it. The silence in your room knows it. The sudden pause in the conversation when you enter the room, it knows it. Someone mentioned your name, and not with love. This message is not about a rumor. This is not about small words scattered like dry leaves. This is about something that was spoken in a tone deeper than gossip. It was said with intention. It was said with a strange sense of envy. This message is for you, and you are not reading this by mistake. Your name was called out behind closed doors. And your teeth, yes, even your teeth, were spoken of, not in admiration, but in mock-ups. You don't realize how long they've watched you. How long they've tried to understand the light that surrounds you, but have chosen, instead, to misunderstand it. There is a conversation that took place without you being present, but it involved you more than anyone else in the room. They sat with coffee or tea or something lukewarm in their hands, and their words were colder than ice. They smiled, but it wasn't a smile of joy. It was a grim smirk. One of them leaned forward and said, "You know, the way they smile, even their teeth look fake." Another giggled and followed up with, "It's like they think they're royalty, but really, they're just pretending. They don't even know how they're seen." And yet, you weren't there. You had no chance to defend yourself. You were somewhere trying to build your life with grace. Somewhere holding tears back, praying for clarity, for a sign, for healing. Meanwhile, someone was trying to reduce your soul to a sentence. They thought they had the right to speak about your confidence as if it was a flaw. They thought your smile was a performance, not knowing that your smile was a survival. You smiled through brokenness. You smiled through betrayal. You smiled when your world was falling apart. You smiled so others wouldn't have to carry your sorrow. But they didn't see that. They only saw a version of you that threatened the darkness they've allowed to grow inside their own hearts. That's why this message is arriving now. Because heaven heard it. And heaven recorded it. And heaven is responding. This is a divine note sent not just for comfort, but for correction, for protection, and for revelation. The one who spoke about you has an old jealousy tied to a memory they never healed from. They saw you once, full of light, walking with confidence when their world was crumbling. Instead of being inspired, they became bitter. And bitterness doesn't always shout, it whispers. It waits. It masks itself in politeness, in fake hugs, in sweet emojis. But it reveals itself when your back is turned. And that is what happened. Your name was placed like an offering on the altar of envy. They didn't just talk about your teeth. They talked about your life, your calling, your blessings. They mocked what they didn't understand. They turned your shine into a threat. But here's what God wants you to know. You are not what they said. You never were. You were not designed to be small enough for them to digest. You were meant to expand beyond the rooms they tried to trap you in. You were meant to be uncomfortable in places built by shallow tongues. They tried to curse your smile without realizing that your smile was anointed. They tried to reduce your identity to a feature they could criticize. But God never built you for their approval. God says this once, and it echoes through eternity, you are chosen. And no one's commentary can unchoose you. Let me tell you what the heavens have witnessed. The same person who joked about your teeth once used to a certain extent. The same person who joked about your teeth once used to admire your courage. They even tried to copy it. But when they couldn't replicate your spirit, they tried to ridicule it. That is how insecurity behaves. It claps with a fake smile and then gossips with a real grudge. They tried to turn your physical into a punchline. But your physical is merely the temple. What they fear is your spirit. What they fear is your growth. What they fear is how, despite everything they tried to break in you, you're still standing, still smiling. And now, something has shifted. Because God heard it. Not just the words, but the spirit behind them. The hidden tone. The venom. The pretense. God has allowed it to go on for long enough. But now, it is being brought to light, not for your shame, but for your freedom. This is your season of truth. This is when God begins to separate the genuine from the jealous. When He begins to remove from your circle those who have secretly resented your progress. This is when the masks fall. They talked about your teeth because they couldn't handle your truth. They fixated on your smile because they couldn't copy your grace. They mocked your appearance because your presence convicted them. But now they are exposed. Not by your words, but by God's justice. Their hidden conversations are echoing in the spiritual realm, and justice is already in motion. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to post a quote about betrayal. You don't even need to cry anymore. This is beyond you. This is being handled by forces you cannot see. Archangels have taken note. And the one who spoke those words will soon find themselves needing grace they never offered you. They will be forced to remember the moment they laughed at you. Not because you will remind them, but because heaven will. And you, yes, you reading this. You are entering a new dimension. One where your smile will no longer be a survival tactic, but a celebration. Where your light will no longer be dimmed by the shadows of others. You are being pulled out of places where your name is mishandled. You are being elevated above the chatter. Elevated above the sarcasm. Elevated above the ones who measure their worth by mocking others. You are not what they said about you. You never were. Your teeth are not the problem. Your confidence is not the problem. Your kindness is not the problem. Your purity, your power, your joy, they were never the problem. The problem is that you're becoming what they never had the courage to become. This message is for you. And you're not reading it by coincidence. You are being reminded, awakened, fortified. You are being told in spiritual tones that God is aware of every lie, every laugh, every little attempt to discredit you behind your back. And the tables are turning, not violently, but divinely. What was said about you in secret will be silenced in public. The mouths that opened with mockery will be shut with awe. The ones who mocked your smile will witness the miracle God makes of your life. And as this happens, you will not need to say a word. You will just keep growing. Keep glowing. Keep walking with integrity. Keep showing up in rooms with your quiet confidence. Let them wonder how you're still rising. Let them wonder how your teeth are still shining because God is your dentist and heaven is your mirror. Your smile is not a weakness. It's a sign. A holy sign that you were forged in fire but came out golden. Someone tried to embarrass you, but they ended up exposing themselves. This is not just a message. This is a spiritual courtroom. And the verdict is in your favor. You are not small. You are not fake. You are not what they said. You are loved. You are covered. You are free. And above all, you are smiling for real this time. Because now, you know, heaven is on your side. And nothing anyone says. No comment, no joke, no whisper can unwrite what God has written about you. Amen.